Up next on Inside ChampCar, keeping it safe on Pit Lane. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski. My big guy, Bill Strong, sitting here with me and making a return appearance. I think Ray's kind of like the Bob Newhart of this show. Whenever we need someone, we pull up Ray, and he's our standard guy to come in, and
he is our go-to guy.
Our go-to guy. We're gonna call this the Ray Franck Show. Yes.
Just tell the people what it is. Backed by popular demand.
Exactly. Exactly. Our ratings go through the roof when Ray's on.
They do. Except right now we only have 3 people on. No, I'm kidding.
Give it time.
Yeah. No. So I hope you guys like the clickbait, and hopefully you can hear us. Sound is good. Good. The clickbait was awesome. I woke up this morning and I thought, what could I do? And as some of you know, I was a 461 munitions guy in the Air Force.
You never dealt with that
back
stuff.
In the day. I played with bombs and fun stuff, and I don't glow. I'm glad. But I thought about Pitlane, and last couple of weeks, Thompson, Connecticut, and Mid-Ohio, we had a lot of new teams, and new teams come to ChampCar. They've got to, they've got a lot going on. Can we make this car work? Will it last? I've got to make sure all the cameras are working in it. But when it comes to doing that fuel stop, we don't really practice that.
No.
We don't really have a place for them to practice. So usually that first pit stop, it can either go really, really well or it could go really, really bad. And that's, when they go bad, it can be really bad. But sometimes bad is just Ray Franck standing there kind of with his finger in your face telling you to put your visor up. Where's your fire bottle? Where's your drip pan? Why did you come in here sideways at 100 miles an hour on pit lane at 25? And, why did you come skidding to a stop? Because, that's what they do in NASCAR, things like that. So I thought about getting Ray on here, and let's just talk about pit lane for a bit, because everybody sees pit lane.
Team Infinity says jugs off the wall. I think maybe we should rephrase that.
Depends.
Jugs on the ground is what you'll hear me say.
Yeah. That happens when you get old, Ray.
Exactly.
The jugs are on the ground.
That's been my best way of thought for quite a while. Like when I got hired to do this job, that was one of the things I told Mike that was going to have to change was the way we handle fuel. And, some people, their equipment is really nice. Other people, their equipment is adequate. And some folks just throw stuff together to get by. And, some of these things people had gas, 15, 20 gallons of gas sitting up on top of.
Pit wall.
Yeah.
Well, it has more of a chance, and plus when something happens, which I've been witness to, and that's, you kind of think of things different.
Yeah.
History on me, 34 years in the fire service. And I tell people, maybe I've seen too many films. Maybe I've smelt some very bad things. Maybe I've had my hands on things that affect the way I think. But in all seriousness, it's a smell I don't want to have to go with anymore.
Yep.
There's things it's just gas. When you research things, there's things that can hurt you. Gas can really hurt you. Gas is a dangerous thing. We get quite lackadaisical. Listen to this word, because I discussed it with one of my tech guys. It's an old guy word, lackadaisical, with fuel and fueling. Because, hey, we do it with our cars. You people that are plugging in electric, no, not so much. But I guess there will be shock stories somewhere down about that too. There's nothing 100% safe anywhere. Stuff happens with all kind of things. So, but still, handling gas is something we do often and have quite success with it. But, you're pulling in off the highway. Yeah, your exhaust is hot. Yeah, your brakes are warm, but it isn't like you've been competing. and you're also using a pump that is also designed to cut off automatically if anything happens. So there's actually not a lot of fuel exposed when something does go wrong. So there are things in play there that just, like I say, over the years, we learned how to handle it in a day-to-day situation. But at the racetrack, coming off at speed, you come into pit lane, they're a little hot too. So, you know, your brakes those calipers and rotors and stuff, they're hot enough to just ignite when anything touches it. And
Yep.
Well, Ray, let's start from the beginning here.
yes.
All right. So, all right, you've decided you want to go race with your buddies. You build a car, you get a trailer or U-Haul, or you drive it to the racetrack. You toss everything you own for that race car and what you think you need for the event in the car, in the trailer, the back of the pickup truck, your buddy's wife's car. You know, you just throw it all in there, and you head to the track. So you get to the track, and we've made a list a couple of years ago, 2022. I made a list. It's called the Pitlane Equipment Checklist. It might be a bit out of date. There's a few things on here that might need to be updated, and I'll look at that for 2025. But you still get the idea of what you need. This is basically everything you should have, and maybe some little extras that you don't really need, but it kind of makes pit lane life a little easier. And you can get this at champcar.org, and go to the website and go to the rules page. You can get that link right at the top of the page, or scroll down and search and hunt for it like I just did. But it's at the top of the page. And then scroll over to, if you're on your phone, you got to keep scrolling down. But if you're on a web browser, just scroll over, and it's in the helpful links. Miscellaneous paperwork and paddock and pit lane checklist. So you have a lot of stuff that you should have in your paddock. And I think, Ray, some of this stuff not only belongs on the pit lane, but some of it in the paddock too, because, you know, we drive by down, let's say Friday, we do our little walk through the paddock, looking, you know, talking to folks, saying hi and welcoming them to the race. And we see a team popping fuel in their car in the paddock because, you know, we don't have access to pit lane at that moment, but they're standing there, civvies. Sometimes they're skivvies almost, pouring fuel into their car. No fire bottle, no drip pans, just pouring it in. So sometimes I think, or most times I think, you still need to have some of that stuff in the paddock if you're going to be working. You know, if you're going to be working on the fuel system, always have a fire bottle there. But a 10-pound fire bottle, ABC, not those little tiny ones you get for your kitchen, right, Ray?
Yep.
Big guys.
Another thing we do, you know, all of us tend to be safety minded, and a lot of us that work pit road, our staff, you know, we see things and tend to do things. And I think Jimmy came up with the idea of, you know, let's check these fire bottles and make sure they're good. There's been races that we've gone 10, 12 teams, and the fire bottles be, you know, out of the green, dated,
empty, yeah,
not big enough. Like I say, again, not taking the fire threat serious.
We hit a bump going to Road America one time outside Chicago somewhere. The trailer went in the air. I ended up blowing some tires. But the worst part was one of the fire extinguishers is in my truck, and the pin had vibrated out, and something fell off the shelf when we hit that, and it popped off the fire bottle. It didn't do a lot, but anybody that's ever popped off one of those things, it just takes a little hit, and it makes a mess. And that's kind of what happened. And but, you know, somebody could have just gone up to that thing with not knowing that it had gone off, and they'll put the pin back in and go do, but it's already been slowly leaking out with nothing, you know, no pressure in it. So that kind of happens. Best thing to do is always check them before and after before you leave. And then when you get to the track, check them again. So 10-pound fire bottle, 10-pound bag of kitty litter or some sort of oil pickup, cleanup stuff. What do you call it?
Don't forget a drain pan that'll hold at least a gallon or so of fluid, something with 3-inch sides on it.
Yeah, and that's on here too. Large oil drain pans work great. Those real big ones. You seen those big ones, Ray, that you use to basically clean your sheep off with? You seen those? Those big black ones? Yeah.
You got a side one like this tall.
No, these are the ones
you put a drain pan in them. Yes, anything big, good. Sometimes bigger the better.
Yeah.
There's some teams that direct their spillage right into one little place and do it quite efficient, and there's other teams that don't spill a drop. And sometimes the way the equipment looks, a lot of these dry brakes, you know, they work well when they work well, but if you don't engage them properly, you've got a spill going on. And nothing's perfect, like I say, about all things. So still can happen, and where your drips and stuff come from, if you're directly over a rear caliper or something,
it's going to go whoosh.
Stuff can happen. And I've been
Yeah.
witness to it. I've had my eyebrows burn about off, and it's a fireball. It's not a fire stream, so it actually encapsulates and goes out everything in all directions. It goes like fireball. Woof. It'll tell you, it'll set stuff on fire under your tent. So,
well, years ago, Ray, when we were just getting rid of the funnels, remember we allowed funnels just like lemons and most of it. We decided we had seen, I forget who it was, one of the teams just empty a bottle in like seconds, it seemed like, using a hose and stuff and some modifications. So we made up our own, telling how great these things were and how safe we were now. I was posting up all over the internet. We go to Sebring and we go to fuel up, and I got my new guy fueling, and unfortunately he's got the vent upside down. So just so happens one of the photographers at the scene took a really cool picture of my car's of the fuel can just peeing right on the rear wheel.
Oh no.
And it was classic. I remember seeing that, going, somebody posted that up, safe, huh? On the forum or internet or something like that. And
I've seen that too, Bill. You've always been a groundbreaker. I tell you,
it's just like, really? We just, I felt the fool, but it was a learning experience. It was a good one because we lucked out, nothing happened. And it taught me to focus more on the prep of doing it. That was the same year that we had my driver get stuck in the car because he didn't know how to get out. The little Opal thing we run. And it caught on fire. He could not get out of the car. Luckily, it was just a carburetor fire, so it wasn't huge, but it could have been worse.
Right.
Practice, and let's talk about that right now, Ray.
Well, that's something we also notice as a staff. We have everybody watches. Like I say, our staff up and down pit road is just, they're wonderful. They're watching all different kind of things go on, and had one who called in and said, "Hey, watch this guy get out of this Miata. He's just too big to be in that Miata," and just had concerns with him having an egress problem. Well, he was a big man, but he wasn't a fat guy. I mean, this guy, he could move. It wasn't the easiest thing, him getting out, but he did not have a problem. And he probably wouldn't have a problem doing much of anything, especially kicking somebody's butt. Because this guy, he was big, but he could still move. He was quite agile. And, some of these military people that run with us, you never know what their specialties were, but you can kind of guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so Bill, is there any rule in the rule book about egress? Do you have? Because I know, like in other series, you have an 8-second rule or whatever.
We used to. I believe we kind of, based kind of our rule book on Lemons back then. Lemons had that thing where you had to put a guy in and bang on the roof, and that guy had to be buckled in and had to get out within a certain amount of seconds. We kind of did that in the early days. I don't know if we do it now. We don't do it now.
Right.
But, no, we haven't in quite a while. But like I said, I have had discussions with people that we did see struggling to get out of cars, even just on pit road, that, hey, if you're going to continue to do this, you're going to have to, go work out and get a little more supple, because, you can't get out and, without help.
I got supple down pat. It's agile I have a problem with.
Well, I mean, my guy couldn't get out of the car because there was a process to get out. The car's so tiny with the cage and the seat and the steering wheel, you could get out, but you had to duck down first, lift your hip, and then rotate and get out. And he could do that no problem once he learned how to do it, but he didn't have that down. Panicked as the fire bottle went off. I had the Safecraft stuff in there.
Right.
I think he was panicking when the flames was coming up around over top of the hood. That's when the panic started.
Yeah. So, but he's trying to get out and just can't get out, and it wasn't pretty, but it was one of those things that could have been a lot worse. So practice. Some guys told us, put his helmet on, then put his helmet bag over his head when he gets in the car.
Yeah, because you might not be able to see anything.
Yeah, well, you don't. With some, you talk to some of these guys that have been car fires, everything turns where you can't,
Right.
it's either red or black or gray or whatever, but you can't see.
Well,
so just practice.
and people think, we make up these like 8 seconds just out of nowhere. And we don't, because, the suits that we wear are fire rated, and those fire ratings are based on how long the suit is supposed to protect you before it can't protect you any longer. And every suit has a time. No matter how good and how expensive your suit is, it's only going to protect you for a certain amount of time. So typically
but
those...
the thing is that we're low budget series. Guys are buying used suits, so you don't know how old they are. You don't know how many times they've been in the dryer, or washed. What was washed with? Was it washed with dirty rags? That had fuel in them or something? Does it have oil residue on it? Did I just wear it for the past 12 hours working on the fuel system of my car, my fuel cell, or my oil system? And is it oily, greasy all over it? Because we see those, don't we, Ray?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, soaked in dirt, and oil, and everything.
The series can only protect people from themselves so much. The series has to assume or hope, fingers crossed, that people are making smart decisions with that kind of stuff. But the point I was trying to make is, the timings are usually based on the lowest level of suit that a series requires, whatever the least safe suit is.
Oh, right.
Which is typically a 1-layer suit with an underwear. There's a number for that, and that's how we come up with 8 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever the number is. So the series is trying to keep you safe. It's not just arbitrarily coming up with this stuff, and it's there because we've seen it all happen before.
Right.
All right, hold up. I'm gonna get on my spiel here. We're not safe. We're not making you safe. There's nothing safe about being at a racetrack. There's nothing safe about walking around the pits. There's nothing safe about coming through the gate. Nothing safe about driving there. We're making you safer. We're doing the best we can with the knowledge we have to lay down some guidelines to help you handle fuel and different things. These guys bring these cars in super hot, and they got a overheating problem, and they stick their face right in amongst all this stuff. Hoses blow, stuff goes crazy. These things will hurt you.
Yeah.
And we've seen wheels fall off on pit roads. We've seen brakes fail, on pit road. We've seen numerous things happen. I mean, gosh, most of the time there's a half a bucket of parts at pit in or pit out, tools too.
Yeah.
Fall off of these cars, during a day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So part of this, like you said, was, do we have a time? No. But I think that, I know that teams that have, my guys all knew how to get in and out of the car. I had a new guy come in, didn't know how to get out, didn't know how to do stuff, knew how to pull the fire pin. And Fred Wolf just said, hey, teaching your guys where the fire pin is, how to pull it, how hard to pull it. Some guys pull, having that thing mounted properly. So we've had guys pull the fire pin out and it brings out the whole dashboard with it. It's just not. Pop rivets don't count as things, as something to hold things together.
Right.
Just learning how to do this, teaching your arrive and drive drivers how to do it, where it is consistently. When we first started racing, we had a picture of the dash from the driver's point of view with labels on where everything is, what you're supposed to look at. I know Troy did something like that too. Just kind of give the new guys an idea of what they're going to be looking at, where it is, how to get out, where the net, how to get the net down, how to get the seatbelts off.
All right, me here for another couple of seconds.
Go.
Your fire bottle system. Bill mentioned ripping the handle slam out the dash. A lot of times that'll happen because your cable has frozen in the sheath. If you didn't lubricate it when you put it together, or you didn't leave some slack in it where you can work it back and forth, that thing's sitting there for years, and no one just set the car in the yard for a couple of days and nights, and over time, those cables will freeze up, and no matter how hard you pull them, they're not going to engage that bottle. So that's a maintenance item that, across series, we need to start promoting people to look at.
and then zip tying them up around the roll cage and taking really sharp corners with that cable, not knowing that you just now created
a kink,
making it a lot harder. Yeah,
yep.
kink it, making it a lot harder. It binds up, and you can't pull it.
And the other, I say the other thing Bill said a couple times is pulling the pin. The pin should be out of the system when you're on the racetrack.
Yeah, we called ours a pin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the handle, but some people I've seen leave the pin in.
Bill saying the wrong word.
Yeah, the wrong.
No, but I've seen people leave the pin in while they're on the racetrack.
Yeah. Oh, that too. And that's another thing we also try to check as a group. Us on pit road before we roll out every morning.
Yep.
Guaranteed we have room or time enough. But we go to each car, fire bottle pin, and actually physically look at the thing. Goes, oh yeah, and you look, well, no, I see it sitting in there. So,
yep.
All right, something that I want to address something here real quick. Fred Wolf just posted up, pulling up to a corner station or corner worker should help also. I want to stress that no, you can pull up to one, but you need to, if your car's on fire, you need to get out wherever you're at. Don't try to drive up to a corner worker. First of all, the corner workers at majority of tracks are not going to help you. They're just going to sit there and talk on the radio. They're not going to get out. They're not supposed to get out because they're not firefighters. They're not dressed for it. They're not doing it. They may have a fire bottle on their station that you can go grab to help put out the fire or do whatever you need to do, but they cannot fight that fire or, help you. Their job is to keep traffic away from you.
Yeah, being in timing and scoring, that's definitely the exact way it goes down. They're ordered not to come out of the stand because then they're out of protective, their protective area.
And and we've had
look up corner worker deaths.
Yeah, we've had a few corner workers die over the past couple of years, and the majority of them do not. But you can grab, like Ed says, you can grab the corner workers' fire bottle, which is usually in that area, and they'll point it out to you. But sometimes getting to that may not be so easy. But yeah, I just want to stress that the corner workers are not going to help you. Just figure that. They're not going to. But the track workers will be there fairly quickly. Of course, when your car's sitting there on fire,
feels like it's forever.
It seems like hours. Yeah, forever.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, safety inside the car. Learn the car. Learn where everything is. Learn the process of using that equipment in the car, and learn how to get out of that car fast. Practice it. In the paddock, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, before you load the car. Just practice it. If you're in arrive and drive, don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to ask the crew chief or the owner or who's ever in charge there, how do I do this? There are no stupid questions.
Right.
There are no dumb questions. If they tell you that, yeah, that's stupid. You should know this stuff. Go somewhere else, because that's just the wrong answer. As a team owner, you should be showing these guys how to do it. So,
I get to drive a lot of different cars. Quite fortunate, and I definitely pay attention to where everything is, how to work stuff, especially the window net, belts, etc. Getting in and out. I may not remember what number the car is while I'm in it, but
well, and that's another thing is where
know how to get out.
You put the number on the dashboard. That's a separate subject. So, all right.
Yeah, I've
so
learned to do that. I write it.
Yeah. You on your hand, or weight gloves. All right. So now your turn has come to get in the car. The guys shoehorn you into the little tiny Miata, or is that just me? They shoehorn you into the Miata, get you buckled in nice and tight. They're fueling the car because we can put in it with ChampCar. You can put a driver in while fueling, or you can choose not to do that. You can wait if you don't feel safe being in the car while it's being fueled. Don't do it. It's up to you. But once you get buckled in, time for you to go. They put that fuel cap on, and they finish up their fuel stop, wash your window, get you buckled in, get your radio hooked up, and you leave pit lane. ChampCar has a speed limit of 20 miles an hour at all tracks. At Harris Hill, it may be less because they don't really have a pit lane. We have a pit area that's basically a big box that you're going to drive around. So that is, what is that one usually, Ray?
Crawling 10, something 10, like that. Just walking speed is what we say.
Yeah, it's a tiny pit lane. So, and we will stop you if we see you speeding, and we will hold you.
Oh,
But
you get hollered at by more than us.
oh yeah, yeah.
It's
So
it's just that they don't do it because
no,
it's unacceptable.
it's just tiny. Yeah, we're there next week. So if you're listening, before you go to Harris Hill next week or this weekend, be aware. But almost all tracks is 20 miles an hour. Even Indianapolis, even Road America, and Daytona, which have like a 10-mile long pit lane. It takes you forever to get down there, but everybody's doing it. So 20 miles an hour. And so you get out and you go down to pit out. ChampCar requires you to stop and come to a complete stop. Our folks will kind of make sure that you're authorized to be in the car. They're going to look for your wristband or whatever we're using for that race to signify that you are an approved driver. Show that to them. If you have your shirt sleeve down, your
glove,
yeah, I'm it's been a long day, man. Your glove
I'm
up.
helping.
You can show that to them, have it ready to go, and they're going to go okay, and they're going to check your window net, make sure that doesn't fall off. One of the things that they were doing recently was just tugging on the window net a bit, because we noticed that some cars are leaving the track, going out on track, and the first left turn they took or the first right turn they took, their window net fell out. So they were checking that kind of stuff. But leave pit lane. Try not to leave it with the wheels squealing. And I'm one of those guys that does that. I don't know why. Just dump the clutch and go. But just take off, join the track. And one thing is, some tracks or most tracks have a blend line. Blend line violations will cost you dearly because we're trying to
Dangerous.
keep you safe. At VIR, cars are coming down there down the front straightaway at 130 plus miles an hour in the C-class cars. 125 to 135, 140. Some of the D-class and the EC cars maybe even faster than that. So they're going down there pretty quick. If you go out pit lane and you cross over that blend line, you are now in the way of traffic. And I'm pretty certain that most Champ cars aren't doing, 6-second quarter miles. So they can't accelerate that quick.
Right.
To get in front of these cars. So blend line, whatever, stay right, stay left, whatever, and rejoin traffic nicely. And the first time on track, for the new guys, that's a bit scary. But just stay off the racing line, stay out there, and hold your line steady and don't cross that blend line. So blend line's really important. Same thing with pit in. When you come to pit in, you're done with your stint, and it's time to come in. Watkins Glen, you're turning the last corner, you're staying out wide, and then you realize, oh crap, there's pit in, and you just shoot across the racetrack to the right, and you dive in and you scare the hell out of Jimmy. Well, we have to hear Jimmy screaming about how this guy came in.
All right, hold up.
Yeah.
You didn't come to pit road and you're on my area. Let's settle down and let's talk about what's happening here.
All right.
Come in pit, like I say, we have had people cross over, very dangerous. The blend line thing, in or out, is very, very serious. You can really hurt somebody. It's don't do it. Coming in pit in, do that pro stop, coming in and stop on a dime. You don't know if cars have come in and had an oil spill right before you, fluid drop down, radiator. Like I say, there's a bucket of parts usually after every race. Stuff laid on the ground there. You hit it, get a tire puncture. Like I say, stuff happens. You come in there hot, that timer's not going to be put on your car in a very efficient manner at all. So you haven't saved any time. Come in, you got 5 minutes to pit. Also, when you leave pit in after stopping and you go to your pit, don't be dropping your window net. Don't be loosening them belts up. Concentrate on driving down pit road and not hitting any of my people, not hitting people out there working on their cars, not hitting our volunteers. Take your time, go to your pit box in an orderly fashion. Come to a complete stop. You people don't get out in front of the car before it stops. Don't come over the wall.
Well, wait. Let's go back to pulling into pit lane where, okay, you've been released. Once they put it, we're not using timers. We're very close to completely eliminating those. But some tracks, we still may use them for now.
That little thing that counts on the dash it can be a timer.
Yeah, that will be a timer. Yeah. But, all right, so they leave pit lane. Now, should they just go straight over and just drive down pit lane, down the pit stalls?
No, they should go to driver's left or to the track side so they're not going against the traffic and the people working on their cars right there.
Yeah, yeah. Or
So you
somebody
give
jumps
more
over the
room to the
wall.
people coming by. So
Yep.
there you go. And you're going down pit road, go do your stop. Had a new team and everybody's got these ideas. They think they're going to do something new. So these guys bring all their gas jugs around to the other side of the car so the guy doesn't have to go back over there and get each one. So then he got 15 gallons sitting in the back of the car. You know, everybody has to learn and stuff. Everybody has ideas and things they think will work and make things easier and faster. But, you know, like I say, I have a thing about keeping the gas cans on the ground till they're needed, and it doesn't slow your stop down. Just have them sitting on the ground. And as soon as you see your guy getting empty, pick it up, hand it to him. If you don't have a teammate to help you hand the jug, this is a ChampCar. Ask your neighbors, your pit buddies. Ask the guy next door or something. Say, hey, can you hand me this jug? They'll gladly do it, unless you know maybe
you're fighting first and second
somewhere. But then ask the guy on the other side; they'll do it. You know.
Yeah.
So don't hurt yourself. Just get an orderly fashion. It's a pit stop. And you got 5 minutes, so just get a little help and do it.
Yeah, and almost all the teams in ChampCar have no issues with helping people.
So absolutely not. That's what this club is about. It's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So, you know, we've talked about coming in. So let's talk about the penalties real quick. Let's talk about the number one penalty that we see at tracks. As of 2025, Chelsea made a rule basically stating that if you are called in for leaking fuel on the track, you know, you just fueled your car and you're leaking fuel on track, it is going to be an immediate track black flag. That's when they get their little black flag out and they start following you around with their radios and they're saying, you know, car 79's at turn 5 and here he is coming up turn 6, and they throw the black flag at you. I'm also going to set off the black flag on your flagtronics. You are supposed to pit right away, because if you stay out and, you know, your team captain comes up and says, hey, my guy's saying there's a black flag, is that true? We're going to give you even more time to sit and think about how you should have put that cap on better or not overfill the car. But it's automatic black flag. We will let your driver know that, or Jimmy or Ray, who's ever working pit in, is going to say, hey, you're leaking fuel on track, go fix it. So you're going to either have to pull fuel out of that car or put a new cap on it and keep it from leaking all over. Or even the vents. We see, isn't it the vents, Ray, that
yeah, most of the time, I mean, it's just guys trying to pack every last ounce of fuel they can pack in their car. And, you know, if you don't have your venting right, you don't know exactly what's, you know, you're going to leak fuel. Right. And it isn't Chelsea's call, these tracks. They don't want gas on their asphalt, and they're black flagging you and telling us about, hey, this guy here is coming in.
Well, most tracks would say, no, because I'm up there. Most tracks would say, hey, it's up to you what you want to do, but, you know, we're going to probably charge you for this kind of stuff. So that kind of told her, hey, we're no more. And that's it. If they report it, we're black flagging you. We'll sort it out on Pitlane. And that's worked quite well this year. But we still do. It's funny. We kind of know who's going to start leaking fuel sometimes. So we know it. We're ready.
Well, getting back to the pit boss thing, you know, and the penalties. You say penalties. Now, some competing series, you know, if you come out there with your visor up, you got a lap, buddy.
Yep.
You know, and it's just, guess what? They don't come out with their visors up. So I don't know. Do we start doing something like that? We're supposed to be kinder, friendlier, but then again, you know, you can tell people so many times all this stuff. And another thing we've noticed as a staff on pit road is a lot of drivers getting the pit out with, oh, their Hans ain't hooked up. Oops. Belts are not under, you know, over the Hans. It's just, or even, hey, I didn't even buckle my belt up. We're doggone. Oops. But I can guarantee you this: the gas tank is full. The gas tank is slap full, but nobody checked just make sure the guy had his helmet buckled or anything. You know,
all right, Ray Frank. Pit in, window net not installed properly, belts unbuckled, or missing safety gear. That would be your safety gear. If your Hans is undone, even though you have it on, it's missing. It's not working right. That's a
There
10
is a
minute.
penalty. There is a penalty in the book, and it is severe.
10 minutes. We can
Right.
make you sit there for 10 minutes. If your window net falls down out there, now that's up to the race director, but it's one of those things that it's in the rule book, 10 minutes, not installed properly. So make certain those things are up.
To be a point, and like I said, I'll go back and brag on our staff again. We had a staff catch a guy at pit 8, and they happened to notice that their screw had come loose in their helmet because they could see the threads
That was Jackie.
of the screw coming out. And
no, it was on his haunch.
I can't let you go on track like this. And the guy had to call for a dude to bring a screwdriver. And I mean, this person has also said, "Hey, dude, you ain't got the right socks on."
Yeah.
Pit 8. Now it's not our job to do that and demand this. I mean, yeah, it's in the rules and all like that, but we don't dress you guys. We don't look after your equipment, and we can only say something if we see it. Now, we can't see everything, but my goodness, I'm so impressed with the stuff our staff does see and the things we fix and how they just look out for these members and stuff. And even myself, I almost got ran off over in Mid-Ohio because, well, wasn't paying attention there for a couple seconds. And, yeah. So, again, it's all about trying to play this game as safe as we can. No, we're not safe, but it is safer than horseback riding and slow pitch softball.
So, all right. So so you can go to the logs, the race logs, and the race logs on the first page of the race logs, the majority of the penalties that we're going to, this is what we use to, there's so much going on in the tower. We have to kind of look this up sometimes. But we see, and it's going to be at every single race, conduct, 4 offs, exceeding track limits, pit lane warnings. And then the second one is a drive-through. The third one is pulling your driver out of the car for the stint. And then the next one, if he does it on the 4th try, he's done for the day. So it's things like this that we have up there. Pit lane, we have rolling stop. So if you don't come to a complete stop at pit end, you just roll it. And Jimmy reports that you did not stop. You did not come to a complete stop. It's going to be a 1-minute hold. You're going to sit there for 1 minute while he talks to you. And Jimmy's fun to talk to. Trust me. You blow through the pit stop box, not stopping at all. That's pit in or pit out. You're going to be sitting for 5 minutes. And that's a lot of talking to Jimmy. Trust me, you're going to go out on track if you blow through it, and you're going to come right back in. Pit lane speeding, that's up to the race director. It really depends on the track. But Flagtronics people that are running it, we actually have access to your speeds at all places on track, and we log. I only log at certain places, but I do log pit lane, and I will cut and paste that pit lane speeding violation and put it in the logs. So we used to have to write it in, and most of the time we got it right, but sometimes I'll just put 52. No, it's exact 55 miles an hour, 54 miles an hour, 52, whatever. So we put it in there, and then we don't even, I got a complaint in the post race that we weren't letting people know that they got penalized. Well, you need to go to the log to check that stuff out. Watch that log. Because we just don't have the staff to go to every single team to tell them that, hey, you just exceeded the speed limit under that code 35. So we're going to give you a lap, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that. So watch those logs. So pit lane speeding, pit in, window net not installed. We just talked about that 10-minute hold. Jack stands, Ray. I jacked that car up. I'm going underneath to check my exhaust system.
Not on my watch. You're going to put something under there. Put your wheel. If you don't have a stand, just put the wheel up on it. Put something. But I just about got in a fight at Richmond Speedway this year. And I don't know. I can't leave it alone, man. When I see some stupidity going on, I don't know. I just have to say something. And it's one of them faults I got. I didn't get just beat up looking because I'm a smart.
All right, tire rule, the tire changing rule, Ray. Explain that to us. So we changed that tire rule here. Was it this year or last year?
I believe we've been a full year under the tire, the one rule, the tool rule. We limited the tools because, You come from your garage with your kid and your cousin and brother-in-law, and you're sitting there racing, and all of a sudden next to you, you hear all these air guns, and you're looking as a NASCAR Type 4 tire stop going on, and you're like, but. So we kind of put everybody on the same playing field. With you got one wrench, one air, like a battery operated tool. We took the air bottles and everything because they were just dangerous to have on pit road anyway. You didn't really need that stuff. And with the way electric stuffs are going, it's so good now, and they're just the way to go. So you get one impact, or four-way lug wrench, whatever you want, and a torque wrench, and that's what you get to change tires with. Now
I'll tell you what, man. Some of these guys are out there practicing, and they're pretty freaking quick with just one guy and one tool.
You can definitely still change 4 tires, but really, in this series, even the guys running the stickies, you shouldn't have to change 4 at one time. I mean, unless you're showing off. I don't.
You're showing off.
Really, I mean,
So if you violate that tire change and rotating rule, rotating the tires or whatever you're going to do in the hot pits, it's a 3-minute hold at pit out. So that's what's written in there.
I don't know what it is a written penalty.
I don't think we've had anybody get caught doing the bad. So
no, because most of the time your teammate, your guy beside you, the one right down from you, start screaming. Yeah, and we're very good at self-policing stuff. I have guys, waving at me and doing this hey and pointing, and they might not talk much, but they're pointing and writing notes and handing them to me and stuff.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah. So except the Miata guys. And Miata guys are so tight-lipped.
They don't rat each other out at all.
Because they've all done it.
No, the BMW guys, they will feed them.
Oh, yeah, the BMW guys, they will rat, and the Porsche dudes too, man. They just don't say it in the open. It's email.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, the Miata guys are all quiet. I think that needs to change.
No, they see the biggest, cheatiest thing they ever dreamed of in their life, and they ain't gonna tell nobody nothing. They go home and put it on
I said, because they're gonna go home and do the exact same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. They're all listening now, patting themselves on the back.
Now that we're talking a little bit of racing, Brian, you had a race adventure with some autocross here.
I did.
Just change the subject for a second.
Yeah.
Didn't you go run some cones, man?
I ran some cones. Well, I drove a car through cones.
Did you run them over cones? Did you do decent? Were you happy?
I was happy with what I learned. The results on the paper don't indicate that, but I had a good time.
Yeah, well, that's all that matters.
That is.
And I'm gonna tell you, running them cones, that's the hardest thing you can do with an automobile, man.
Yep.
I mean,
well,
it's so in your head that
That's a good segue into the cones, because Jimmy has chip and whatever cones, and they're at pit in.
Pit in, yeah. We got Chip and Chris, yeah.
There are cones at pit in.
Yeah, the cones at pit in, and you need to be slowed down and going at least 20 by the time you get to Chip and Chris, and then you proceed on to your stop sign.
Yeah, because that's something we started last year. I think it was the year before.
Yeah,
last
give them a goal to get to, because
Yeah, you give them a target, and those 2 cones are your slow box.
Yep.
And you need to be slowed down before you get there. That did help a ton. It did help, and Jimmy thanks us for that. We thank Jimmy for that, because I think he thought of that. Okay, let's go back to fuel. So fuel leakage on track, immediate black flag, FT200 black flag. Now, mishandling fuel on pit lane. It's a warning. Our staff will say, hey, put those bottles over the wall. Hey, whatever. And then at the discretion of the race director, then it's a 1-lap penalty. So
I have found you can start hollering or whatever at the guy that doesn't have his gloves on getting in the car, or you can do whatever you want to do until you stop that cat from putting that gas in the car. You just wasting.
They're not going to change. Yeah.
You just stop him from fueling, and you got everybody's attention. Like I say, that gas tank got to be full.
Yeah.
Okay, stop fueling. Once you start that, you can tell them, hey, the guy doesn't have any gloves on.
Yeah.
Or, most time the face shield thing's pretty automatic. They've got that by now. But,
they forget. They realize they hear something, and you could see them. They're like, "What I do wrong?"
Or
And their face-
I'm not saying we haven't found a guy getting in one of these things with flip flops on. You know, it just sometimes people don't think much.
Yeah, it's that red mist. You're just focused, and you tend to forget things. All right, the other one is unsafe fueling. Visors up. That's a warning. And then again, at the discretion of the race director, it could be a 1-lap penalty. And then refueling outside of the hot pits. Now, we've had this happen with some of the teams coming from other series. They'll drive behind the pit wall, or they'll drive into the paddock. They'll go over to their paddock spot, and they'll start fueling in there. And that's a big no-no, because if you have a fire, nobody's going to know it. It's going to take a while to get safety there. We'll see the smoke, and then we'll figure out in 5 minutes.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Smoke is. No. So that's warning, and then discretion of the race director. So no fueling in the paddock. But yeah, it's we're going to start enforcing these again, and we have, but we're just seeing a few more things here and there now.
I know people think I'm pretty serious about this stuff, and I'm over exaggerating different things, but I have in ChampCar races and ChampCar races since I've been doing this. I have been at 6 fireball on pit road actions. Yeah. Now, of course, I do go to a lot of races, and I think 2 or 3 of them happened while I was just racing only and not working for the series. But since I've been working, we've had, like I say, it isn't just our first time teams. We've had, some good ones, and Ed can attest to why I call it a fireball and what happens. And, it's also a big difference in gas is temperature, humidity. I want to handle it all the same way all the time, so we had the same practice. But there's certain days it's dry and it's hot. Your vapor is just kicking. This stuff is just, it's wanting to just go everywhere and hang out together and do weird things that vapor does. Maybe I've seen too many movies, like I say, but.
So Ed actually says this was at Daytona, right, where his car caught on fire. Yeah. So I mean, he also had a fire at Charlotte as well, but that he was in. But the Daytona one was as someone who set this car on fire by the rear rotor, and he said Ray's not exaggerating. Fire travels, and there was I guess the fire spread into the cold side of the pit.
Oh yeah, it was stuff on fire on the tables under the tent. Under the tent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's one of the. So again, we have no rule against this, and I'm not making rules. I want to stress that. Bill's not making rules. But when you have people sitting under your tent, I see them with their backs to the wall, to the hot pit. I see them just sitting there in shorts, and of course they have the closed-toed shoes. But man, if somebody was sitting in Ed's tent, that would have not been pretty. And
and like I say, people used to stand there and hold these 5-gallon jugs of gas, and something happens, you can't move. I mean, what's 5 gallons of gas? 40-some pounds, right? Yep. Plus the can. So you can't move, you can't get away. And once you realize, hey, I'm holding 5 gallons of gas and everything around me is on fire, what are you going to do? You're going to drop the thing. Now I got another 5 gallons of gas involved.
Yep.
It gets big, and it gets big in a hurry. And that's what we want to avoid. So let's just be careful, folks.
Yeah.
Even transferring your fuels and just everything. We've been quite lucky, and praise the Lord for that.
Yeah. Ed says the fire jug hose slung fire.
Yeah.
That means what was inside that jug was on fire.
Well, we see that when guys are filling the car up and they get down to the end, and then they just pull it out and they whip it, and then they grab another one. And that whipping, you can see that fuel just start flying everywhere.
Yeah, the one that burnt my eyebrows off, the guy controlled the can as he took it out, and it all went woof. And he very calmly set the can down on fire because he was a ball of fire himself. And actually, the flame coming out of the snout of the gas can was a different color than all the fire that was all around the whole back of the car and the guy.
Yeah.
So it was something. But the fire extinguisher dude was right on time. Poof, he hit it. Swoof, swoof.
Was that Daytona?
Was a matter of seconds, but like I say, Ray Franck had some melted few eyebrows, and I started thinking seriously about it because the heat was on.
That heat is
quick.
hot.
Well, and that's interesting, Ray, because you say it was a different color. So there's less oxygen at the tip of that gas tank than there is outside in the open air, and that's where you got your different colors from. You had a different amount of oxygen fueling. I mean, it doesn't make it burn or hurt any less, but that's interesting that you noticed that.
Well, that's how close I was. I was noticing all kinds of stuff. I was backing up.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And I'm not lying when I that's why I take this stuff serious, man. I don't want people getting hurt.
Yeah,
we've been quite lucky, and I hope it continues. So
and
this. Go ahead.
I was just saying, we were talking about this. A lot of new racers with ChampCar, and these are the folks who are involved in ChampCar have maybe not a ton of experience, but this happens at the pro level. Will Power lost his chance to win an IndyCar championship on Sunday because on lap 12 his seatbelts came undone. So it happens, and he spent 5 laps on pit lane getting it put back together, and that was the end of his championship bid because of that incident. So, it's not just because we're inexperienced or we don't have a lot, all of this. It happens at all levels, and diligence is important no matter how experienced you are. So this isn't a discussion just for the teams who are new. This is a discussion that's good reminder for everybody.
So
Absolutely.
Going back to the safety stuff, I want to say at Nelson Ledges, I went up and down pit lane asking people to put their leg up on whatever it was on the wall or put it up on here. Now show me your socks. And these were guys getting into cars.
Right.
They were all dressed up, ready to go. I found 2 that didn't have fireproof socks.
Right.
And basically told them you don't get in the car until you get the fireproof socks on. So, and by our rules, if you get out of that car and you didn't have the fireproof socks on, that's 10 minutes you're going to sit in pit lane. So you sign that agreement saying that you will wear the proper gear, and we're going to start checking that stuff. So, but yeah, that surprised me. Some of the people that didn't have the proper gear, but 2 minutes later, they had it on. They were ready to go, get in the car, and go race.
I would also suggest that the fire bottle guy and the fuel jug guy, gal, whomever, should have fireproof socks on.
Yeah, everybody, not just if you're over that wall during the fuel, you got to have what the racers have on. And I think the
we require them to have socks, fire socks on if you're over the wall.
Yeah, and if you, I think you're allowed to use like leather shoes and stuff like that instead of the race shoes. But yeah, it's really important. All right, so checking gear, we're going to be checking fire bottles to make sure everybody's fire bottle on pit lane for the fuel stops is corrected. You got to have that kitty litter and a broom and stuff to clean that up. I've seen too many teams forgetting their kitty litter. That's really important. That can actually help clean up the mess on pit lane. Some tracks, though, Ray, they don't want you to clean it up because they know that, if it's a concrete track or concrete pit lane, it's just going to evaporate. And then the other thing is that they know that once you get that kitty litter, what is everybody going to do with that kitty litter when they're done with it?
Just put it in the trash.
They're going to toss it in that trash can over there. Somebody's going to walk down pit lane with a cigarette and go, That's what somebody told me once. I think it was at Daytona. But yeah, it's you need to dispose of that properly. So Ray, speaking of disposing properly, you've got all this oil and grease and maybe brake fluid in your pit lane. What are you supposed to do with that stuff when you're done?
Most every track has a safety clean disposal area. I think every track, don't they? Yeah.
The safety clean or what's it called?
Well, they have one, and most all of them are safety cleans, aren't they?
Yeah.
I guess it's a requirement. It should be because they definitely have waste they have to get rid of.
It's just finding it, and if you don't know where it's at, find one of the pit lane marshals or one of us with the official shirts and say, hey, where is it? If we don't know, we're going to find out. We have a hotline to the people to the track, and we'll be able to find that out.
Very cool.
Let's see. I'm just looking here. What else? Pig mats. What's a pig mat?
That's a type of absorbent. It's like a cloth. It absorbs oil and not water. It has different properties, different type of pig mats that Pat, they have, like your round bundles and links, and then they have flat and just things to absorb oil and such.
I've seen people take those and put those over the rear tire inside the tire well before they start fueling.
Yeah, I've seen guys do stuff like that.
Yeah, I've suggested there's a couple of cars that the fuel port is directly over top the rear tire.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, let's make some kind of cover that will just go over that thing.
Yep.
Because that's what happened in Ed's fire. Ed has a really good fueling system. He has a vent hose he plugs in, and it goes into his drain bucket. Well, while he was fueling, he hit the hose, and it pulled out of the drain bucket and stuck right in the wheel, right on the rotor.
Ugh.
But when it filled up, it didn't go in the drain pan. It went straight on the rotor, and she, yeah. She was a 3.5 full fire extinguisher. Fireball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. So I was talking to Chiswick up in the tower. I want to say it was Charlotte, but it could have been Daytona, but I'm pretty certain it was Charlotte. We were talking about the show that we were doing at that moment, some other things that we needed to do for the end of the race. And Mike was on the stair below me, and I was a little higher than him. And I just watched a white car come into pit lane, and it was an MR2, so it caught my eye.
56 minutes. Took us 56 minutes.
Comes into pit lane, and, I'm looking at Mike, but, my mind is like kind of looking through him, and all of a sudden the brightest fireball. And the MR2, as they went to go either static set it off or just dripped and whoosh. But they had, I want to say it was like whoosh, whoosh, just a massive amount of fire bottle onto that thing. And it was out like that. And they cleaned it up real quick and they were back out racing. But it was one of those, holy crap, that was huge. And it was not a lot of, to me, from my view, it didn't look like a lot of fuel. It was just this huge fireball. And that really opened my eyes to how this happens. Because I just haven't been in a position to see that kind of stuff like Ray has.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's it happens quick. It happens very quick. So.
And it can get big. Like I say, it hasn't caught on to another jug and under another tent yet. A vapor hasn't got together. It's just.
Oh yeah. Speaking of under tents, so at Harris Hill, for those going this weekend that are listening, we do not allow you to fuel your car under your Easy Up. It's going to be 99 or 98 degrees this weekend at Harris Hill. And it's, yeah, it's going to suck. But it's you don't fuel under your Easy Up. Because what happens if your car catches on fire? It's going to catch that Easy Up on fire. It's probably going to catch the one next to you on fire. It's just not going to be pretty.
That's some melty, drippy stuff, and she's coming down too, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, and under the tent you could catch gas vapors, and gas vapors could be just as flammable, if not even more flammable, than the gas itself.
Much more flammable. That is what the big kaboomy. Like I say, vapors can do some strange things.
Yep.
Vapors like to hang out with their other cousin vapors, and they might travel up and gather, or they might travel down and gather.
That sounds very West Virginia.
Yeah.
All right. So Fred just posted up, and he's going back to the corner worker priorities, which this is actually pretty interesting. It's good. The steps. So the number one rule for the corner workers is to protect themselves. Number two is other corner workers. Number three is competitors still racing, which is the pack. And then number four is the car or bike at issue. So that's pretty good. And that's kind of what I see at the track as well. So it's, like you said, if you go up to a corner worker, don't expect them to jump out and come save the day on you, because that's not their job, and that's not what they're going to do. It's too dangerous for them.
I had just walked up into the tower when Doc's car caught on fire at NCM.
Oh, yeah, NCM, yeah.
And it came down through the back, and it was still rolling. It went right by the corner worker, and he pulled over, went to the corner station, got the fire extinguisher, went, and the lady working that track was amazing. I mean, she had the fire crew going. She had them, and they were there. She had the backup coming from the other direction. I mean, she was cool as a cucumber, and just this, that, the other, boop, 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 nothing. Doc's car was put out. Of course, we had somebody behind that got on the forum and just said how long it took. It took forever for the fire truck to get there, and Doc's car was just burning up, and they should have done this, and they should have done that. And I timed it, and it was 51 seconds between the time the guy pulled off the track and the safety dude was putting water on Doc's car. 51 seconds, and he was,
If you know
well
NCM,
halfway
it takes
around the track from where the trucks took off from. I mean, it was amazing they got there that fast. I mean,
and there's no shortcuts.
On the fire in less than a minute.
And there's no shortcuts at that point of the track.
No.
You have to go all the way around
there. And like I say, it was all, like I said, there was backup playing on the way. Some of these tracks are amazing, and then you go to another one.
Yeah, that's why when we pull out the red flag, it's on purpose and it's for a reason. So you expect when everybody comes to a stop, there may be vehicles coming counter just to get to the situation quickly. So just be aware of that. So not that I've seen that, but who knows?
Yep.
All right. All right, so yeah, Ed says, because Ed was in a car that was on fire. He goes, it feels like forever, but help comes fast.
Yeah.
So he had that crash at Charlotte, where knocked him out, and I think it knocked him out, but caught on fire too. So
I tell you, buddy Ed, when you look up racer in the dictionary,
it shows a picture of Ed.
It shows a picture of Ed. Be like Ed.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, good guy. And we need to have Ed back on here again one of these days.
Oh yeah.
Got a lot of new people in ChampCar, and see the old timers. He's not an old timer yet. He's still a young guy. But to get him back on the show.
Bill just called you an old timer, Ed.
Yeah. Well, he's been racing with us since the beginning. I mean,
he's been around.
Since 2009. Yeah. He ran, I want to say 2 races before we even did our third race, or our first race in ChampCar was at VIR 24, which I believe was the 3rd race on the East Coast. So, and he had already won one, I think, or something. He's been around.
Yeah.
He's been around.
So
he's won Daytona.
Yeah. So we got 26 people watching and 11 likes.
Oh, come on.
Come on now, people. There should be 26 likes right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There's my pitch. If you haven't subscribe, hit the bell so you know when the next show is.
Once a week.
Yep.
Always at 9:00. Next week, I think I'll be home in time.
Well.
But if not, we'll get something in place.
We'll work it out.
Yeah. And y'all folks out there, I appreciate y'all racing with us. Like, some of the things we do, like I said, we have a reason behind it. We do a lot of racing. We go to a lot of events. We spend a lot of time on racetracks, on pit roads. It ain't just 20 minutes at the pop. It's 7, 8, 10, 14, 24 hours in a row, solid, getting it on racing. The way we have to do things may be a little bit different because we've seen some stuff. And,
And again,
we want y'all to go home and be happy.
Yep.
And some of the input I got from our post race at Mid-Ohio was guys saying that, hey, you need to send people back because they're too slow, or they're doing this on pit lane, or no, this is where you learn it. And we're here to help you guys and make your experience better. And we want you to come back and race with us. So again, we know all these penalties, they seem kind of strict and harsh, but there's a reason for them. We want you guys to be safe out there. And sometimes it takes a penalty to make you change the way that you're doing stuff. So
the follow
on
on mission. If you don't hit the like button, you have to race an E-class next time.
EC class.
EC class, yeah. That's awesome.
All right.
So he wants some more competition over there.
He does.
There you go.
So, all right. I think we're done. I'm leaving bright and early here in a couple hours, and 98 degrees of Texas is awaiting us, and it's going to be fun. Harris Hill, Ray isn't coming.
Why are you leaving so early?
Huh?
Why are you leaving so early?
Because get to the hotel in Mississippi. I'm going to try and ride somewhere, get some miles in. Then Jimmy and I are leaving. Why? When do you want me to leave? Oh, you want to do the 1-day trip again, huh? Nah, it's a little easier when you have 2 guys, but not one.
And y'all keep yourselves away from the thunderstorms, okay? On the ride home.
Yeah, no more tornadoes. It isn't the
let's not repeat
Bill
that.
and Franck tornado show this year. We didn't get a chance for it.
Yeah.
No, I'm taking the big truck in the trailer, so no way. Yeah.
All right.
No, staying away from that stuff. So. All right. Actually, I think I will be at my brother's next week. So I'll probably be able to do it. I forgot
Well,
about
and
that.
even if you can't, I'll take one for the team and do it by myself.
There you go. All right.
Just get me a guest.
All right,
Need
Ray.
any help? You know who to holler at, big boy.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, Ray. Thank you for joining us tonight, and hope you guys like the clickbait there. And
What?
Yeah, what?
What is a clickbait? Is that that sounds funky to an old man. I mean, what is some clickbait?
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, okay, but wait, I'm a boomer. So
I mean, really, man, I don't know why y'all people think we're born knowing this crap. Just tell me what it is, son. You keep it a secret.
It's a headline.
Is it anything
headline.
like catfish?
No.
Yeah, it's catfishing. Yes, yeah, like that, right?
Well, you got clickbait. I mean, everything's getting this reference thing back to water. I live on the lake. I just want to know, man. Just tell me.
So basically, I developed a picture that would draw people's attention and make them click on it, and it worked. So yeah, put a nuclear bomb, Pitlane. You'll have to go look at the slide for the video. Today.
Oh, the thing you put on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
That's clickbait.
That's clickbait.
Yeah.
I thought it was what you call advertising.
Yeah, it could be like that too.
It's exactly what it is.
Okay, Boomer.
That's gonna be another.
Help me! Oh man, like please.
That's another episode of Inside ChampCar.
Wait. Ray, $20 says everybody at Pitlane at Pittsburgh is going to let you know what clickbait is. Back to you, Brian.
I'll be ready for it.
That's gonna do it for
It's
another
an advertisement.
episode of Inside
You think you're
ChampCar.
fooling the old boy all the time. You think you're fooling me, but you're not.
Okay.
If you
Come
like
on with your fancy words. I'll figure it out sooner or later.
If you like what you heard,
Sure, that's a 2.5 motor, buddy. Let's put that stick down in there. We'll tell everybody what it is.
You guys have yourself a great week. He's Bill Strong. That's Ray Franck. I'm Brian Bielanski. You're listening to the Racing Wire Podcast Network. You're watching ChampCar Live. Go have fun. Play safe with cars.
There we go. Good show, Ray.
That may be the